Alright, welcome back. Tonight we have a different line. I wanted to also, I have an email address if any of you all would like to contact me. It is johnstoybox15@gmail.com. Hit like, hit subscribe, please join my channel. I really enjoy doing this. I hope you all enjoy it, learn some stuff out of it, find some stuff you didn't know existed. I mean, honestly, it's part of the fun of toy collecting is all the stuff you overlooked when you were a kid. Either it wasn't available in your country, or you've gotten older and now you want to do different things. But today we're going to go over a company that used to exist called Gloob. They made a 9-figure toy line, and I apologize, I cannot find Cobra, and Cobra is an interesting character. He looks so much like these kids that grew up around the corner from me when I was growing up in Cardington, Ohio. Their dad, he used to wear the same hat, had the same haircut. I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous. And at some point, I need to look them up and see if he's still around, because you know we're all getting older. But I don't know where the figure is. I'm going to have to find it. But I do have the 4 bad guys. I have the 4 main good guys. I never did get Amy Allen. I didn't actually pick these up until probably 2013 or so. You know, I'd seen them a couple of times when I was a kid. I was, you know, I loved the show. I thought it was great. But I was really into He-Man and kind of overlooked the A-Team. So today we're going to do Gloob's A-Team, or at least the ones I have so far, minus Cobra. So the first one up is John Hannibal Smith. John Hannibal Smith is an actor. He is also the leader of the A-Team. The A-Team, the premise was they were in Vietnam. Ask your parents. They were sentenced to a federal prison for a crime they didn't commit, specifically looting one of the banks in Vietnam. Towards the end of the war, under the orders of their commanding officer, who was killed the same night that they perpetrated the raid, when the Vietnamese attacked his outpost. It's all, you know, a fictional story. You know, nowadays people get really uptight about things, and they may not want to discuss it, but that's where it was. It's still a great show. There are 4 or 5 seasons. Take my advice, skip the last season. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5, but skip the last season. I watched them a couple of years ago. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they made that season. And I started watching, I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember why I don't. It really is that bad. But the first 3 or 4 seasons are excellent. You should watch it. So we have Hannibal. He's an actor, and he's the leader. Strangely, considering it's the 80s, he did not come with a cigar accessory, which you would have kind of expected from him. What he does have is he has an M60 rifle with a belt of bullets that slides in here, and you can pull it through, or you can just let them hang out, because he used this gun fairly frequently in this show. He also came with an M16, which is one of my favorite rifles. I love the design of it, and it's got a little strap so you can connect. I'm missing a few of the little straps here and there. He has a belt with it's got a molded-in pistol and a canteen. It just kind of snaps around his waist. You know, it's an accessory, but there's nothing really to write home about. You just thread it through. Which is a bit easier if you're not trying to keep a rifle from falling off. And I got these all second hand, so they're kind of loose. I wasn't actually planning on getting them. I just, you know, I got a lot of Mr. T or B.A. Baracus' characters toolbox in a lot of stuff I picked up one time. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those. I want to try and get them. And Amy Allen was a bit more than I was willing to spend at the time. I'm sure she's gone up in price since. He also has this little backpack that all the harnesses are kind of the same. The belts are different, and they're modeled for each particular character. But basically, the backpack harness goes on. It's got little pinholes so you can snap it through the chest. And I'm not doing all the harnesses. I'm just doing the one for an example. But there's little pinholes at the corner. And when they came packaged, they all came with a gun or two, or a couple of accessories, and then a little cardboard cover next to them that hid all the rest of the accessories. The only one that didn't have more than one gun was the Mr. T character, B.A. Baracus. He's the mechanic. There's a really funny joke about him not flying and stuff, which is it's in every episode. They find a way to drug him, usually involving milk, so that they can get him on an airplane because he's afraid of flying. But this is Hannibal, and he has the little radio backpack, the military belt with the pistol, the M60, and the M16. So the good guy figures are articulated a bit differently than the bad guy figures, and we'll get to the bad guys shortly, don't worry. But the good guy figures have a ball, or not a ball joint, but the little peg in the head to help hold the head on, but it's basically a mushroom shape, so it swivels. They have pegs that hold the shoulders on, so they have shoulder articulation, they have waist articulation, and then they have hip and knee articulation. And Hannibal, as you can see, is a little bit loose. He's basically a hollow figure. The paint's pretty good. He's got a little black smudge on his sleeve. But Hannibal was the leader. The second in command was Lieutenant Templeton Peck, also known as Face. He was, despite the fact that Hannibal was the actor, the disguise guy. He was also the one who could get basically anything. These are all fairly accurate to the show as opposed to the 3 3/4 inch ones. Now, I don't have Face's Uzi. I should have 2 of them because they replicated all of the accessories for the good guys, except for Amy Allen's camera and whatever the other one is. I'm sure there's a backpack for the bad guys. But he's got the same basic articulation, the same harness as all the rest of the guys, and then he has a little explosive backpack, and again he has the kind of military pistol and canteen belt. The third one is the pilot, Murdoch. Murdoch, I believe, is the last name, but they didn't go into his first name very much, and I cannot remember, but he was always referred to as Howling Mad Murdoch. Now, the other 3, Hannibal, Face, and B.A. Baracus, were all living in the LA underground trying to hide from the government. Murdoch lived in a psycho ward. He convinced everybody he was crazy. He really wasn't. He was actually just about a genius. I'm sorry, I have Face's M16 here. So he came with a belt that's slightly different. It's got the canteen, but then there's a little pocket here because he also came with, what did I do with it? I appear to have misplaced it. He had a grappling hook. In fact, I had 2 of the grappling hooks. And then he has a pair of binoculars so he can, look out at things. But the grappling hook just kind of sat in the little pocket here. And then he's got the harness for the backpack. He has a little, it's got a hammer and a little claw hammer, just some basic tools to, help him repair his helicopter or his plane or whatever he's flying. And then he came with another M16. The last one I have for the good guys is B.A. Baracus. B.A. Baracus, Mr. T was such a big deal in the 80s. It's kind of a shame he disappeared. I heard that he got cancer, but he survived. He's doing fairly well. He's I believe a motivational speaker, if I remember right. So, but his left hand is in a fist. It doesn't hold anything because he liked to hit people. He had the tagline, "I pity the fool." He wore all this gold jewelry. The earrings on the figure aren't quite right. The Mr. T figure used to wear these big feathers in his earrings. Honestly, he looked so cool. But he's the mechanic. So he has a belt with all these little, there's wire cutters and looks like a little multimeter, a couple of screwdrivers, and then he came with the an M16 as well, because they're military figures, and the M16 was a really popular rifle in the Vietnam War for the U.S. troops. Instead of a second gun, he came with a toolbox. Now, the toolbox is really cool because it opens, and there is a drawer that lifts out, and he has all these little tools. There is a wrench, there is a ball peen hammer, there is a socket or a ratchet, there is a socket set. This one's kind of hard to see, it's got little molded in sockets. There is a hacksaw, a power drill, a drill bit set. The bits are molded in, they're kind of hard to see. He's got a screwdriver, and then he has this pair of bolt cutters. And in the packaging, the bolt cutters took the place of the other rifle. So generally, I keep the larger tools down in the bottom, and then I'll put the drawer in, and then I just basically put a screwdriver and a hammer in and latch it back up. But honestly, Mr. T, B.A. Baracus, is, because of the tool set mostly, the star of this series. They're all fairly easy to get, figure-wise. To complete is a bit more of a challenge. Patience will help you. It's not a real well-known line, so they don't command an exorbitant price like G.I. Joe or He-Man or Star Wars. So I told you I don't have Cobra. I have a few of his weapons here. Let's see. I had these all sorted out beforehand, so I just need to make sure what I've got where. So I'm missing his Cobra's M60, but I've got his backpack, or it's not Cobra's M60, it's Rattler's M60. I have his backpack. I've got his, oops, that's the wrong one. I have his backpack, his belt, his M16 that I need the strap for, and I need the grappling hook for. There we go. So I've got him somewhere. I'm not going to do a whole separate review of him right now. I may end up doing one in the future, I'm not sure. So the bad guys are all named after snakes, and on the 6-inch card, they're all called bad guys. They dare to challenge the Ateam. So we have Python, which was the next one. Python looks like a bad guy. He's got the eye patch. Now, I said they were a bit different because none of the bad guys' knees move. They just have hip articulation. And they come out in a V, whereas, like, Murdoch, you know, his legs come out in a V. Oh, my Murdoch, his knee is a little broken right there, so that leg comes out a bit more than it should. But you can see the knee articulation. Other than that, they're built basically the same. They're hollow figures. This one had Mr. T's accessories, so he's got, you know, the harness, or not the harness, the machine gun, and the tool kit, and I'm not going through the toolkit a second time. Then we have Rattler. Rattler was the one bad guy I wanted when I was a kid, because I really liked Indians. I've mentioned that before. But he came with Hannibal's accessories. So he's got the military belt, the harness, the M16 belt, or M60 belt, the M16 rifle, and the communications backpack, and the binoculars. The last one I have is Viper. Viper always reminded me of a cross between a biker and a lumberjack, and for some reason these ones are starting to get a bit tacky on the paint. I'm going to need to give them a good wash and kind of get the sticky off. But he came with faces stuff, so he has the explosive backpack, the military belt, the M16, and he should have an Uzi as well. But that is the Ateam collection I have so far. I hope you appreciated it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.